Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the Ayurveda and infertility. The Ayurveda has a very big answer for the infertility, and of course I can say the very successful treatment of infertility. So today we will see what's the Ayurveda saying on the infertility. Let's see what is infertility. Uh, so in Ayurveda, in Ayurveda medicine science, they cover each and every aspect of Ayurveda of our life, like from birth to death. Each and every aspect Ayurveda medicine system is covered. So today we are going to discuss about Ayurveda and infertility. So let's see what is uh, Ayurveda and infertility. First Ayurveda is showing about us the primary and secondary infertility. Means primary, conception has never occurred, and secondary, failed to conceive after having produced a one child, or after having one miscarriage. And one child infertility is relatively more common. Means many couples are like that. They have a one child, and after that they are trying to second time pregnant, but then they have some issues, or for some reason they are not able to conceive the second child. In Ayurveda, for the infertility, we have a specific disease name. It's called Vandyatva. And a Vandya means a woman who has lost her power of a healthy menstruation or ovulation, resulting in a loss of a fertility. So the lady who is not conceiving the child, or who is not able to pregnant, in Ayurveda we call them Vandya. What is the Nidana? Means what is the reason for the infertility? Failure of any these of following four factors lead to Vandyatva: Riti, Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu and Bija. We already discussed about these all four factors in our last lecture, and even Abhighata. Yeah, that is the nowadays main reason. Dosh Abhighata to Artavaha Srotas produce Vandyatva along with dyspareunia or amenorrhea. Means anyhow some injury happen to your menstruations cycles or uterus. Means if you have a going for procedure of abortion like curative, or in the first delivery you are going with the cesarean or anything, and any other surgeries, and because of that any slightly very minor injury happen with your fallopian tube, your uterus wall, or ovaries, then because of that some scar tissues happening there, and that is the very main reason for infertility. Even in Ayurveda we have a 103 vital parts of our body. It's called marma, and because of a marma bighat, means because of the injury of the marma points, some disease is happening. So infertility also comes under the marma abhighat. So if you then go for the scan or sonography, and they are saying no, everything, your uterus and your fallopian tube and everything is normal, but you are still not able to conceive. Why? Because maybe that very delicate vital point, marma point, is injured. And then sadbhavas means any vikruti in sadbhavas, which is matruj, pitruj, atmaj, satmaj, rasaj and sattvaj. This all our like fetus when going to form, that all sadbhava is very necessity. This is again 6 factors. It is a very difficult to for you understand, because it's very detailed deep knowledge of Ayurveda, but because of that some genetic disorders also happen. And then artavadusti means menstruation impurity. We already see in our last lecture 8 types of a menstruation problem in Ayurveda in the base of the doshas. And here also again I mentioned are the affected with Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Punapa, uh, Granthibhut, Puttipek, Kshina. This type of a menstruation disorder if you have, then also we are not capable to produce the Garbha. Now, this is, I try to make one slide in very short manner. You can just see because of which dosha, what is happening in your body. Means because of Vata dosha, dryness in the mouth of a cervix, dryness in the fallopian tube to vagina. Dryness causes the sperm not to stick to conceive, hormonal imbalance and excessive flow. Because if you have a very high vata dosha, and then these symptoms or this type of anatomical structure can happen in your uterus or in vagina. So because of that also we can't able to conceive. And then pitta dosha, because of pitta dosha, excessive bleeding and inflammation and pain, hot flow burning pain in the uterus, and small blisters or fibroid in the uterus, and sperm cannot survive to conceive. This is the main. Even maybe many times you guys also heard about the pH of vagina. Means if our vagina pH is very like in the acidic base manner, so then also we are not able to conceive. And if you have a very high kapha dosha, then because of kapha, it's a like cool and sticky seeds can happening. Like kapha is responsible for any growth in the body. So the uterine fibroid, thinking of a uterus lining, actually some lining is needed in a conceive if you want to conceive the child, but too much line, that is also again a problem. White discharge and irregular menstruation cycle, this can happen because of a kapha dosha. Now we already mentioned before that Rutu, Kshetra, Ambu, Bij, it is a very responsible factor for the infertility. Now we let's see what is the Rutu. Any defect in Rutu Kal may lead to infertility. Means during your periods time, after a menstruation periods is finishing, a bleeding time, just bleeding day, in the which day the bleeding stop, and after that the up to the ovulation day, it's called Rutukal in Ayurveda. So if any impurity or any imbalance during this kala, then also this time, then also it is a one cause of a infertility. Rutukal period is a Kapha Pradhanya. We all know now it is a Kapha, high Kapha days for us. So, in affected by Vata or Pitta, then its sterility may result. So, during this time, if you're not able to manage your kapha dosha, or you are not following anything to control your kapha, or you have an irregular daily routine, you have an irregular diet lifestyle, then it may lead to infertility. Timing and a frequency means coitus should be placed every 48 hours during fertile period. Means that we all know when our ovulation is there, so for 48 hours, within 48 hours, we should try for the conceiveness. Contraceptives result in delay in return of ovulation or any presenting anovulation. So many are using the oral contraceptive pills. Now we all know because of oral contraceptive pills, so many side effects also is there. So even up to the breast cancer or cervical cancer also can happening. So better to avoid these contraceptive pills, and this is also one of the reason for infertility. In uterine device, because of that sometimes the fallopian tube can damage. And psychological infertility, like fertility is low until the 16 and 17 years, mostly unovular cycle. We know in the teenage we have no ovulation. During pregnancy, during lactation, before menopause, after age 35 years, fertility falls. So we need some we need to conceive our child in between some age, before some early. We never plan baby like in very late age. If you have a in your life plan that maybe you are going to plan in very late age, then you should take some rashayana or some regulations to develop your to maintain the power of your artava or the shukra dhatu, and to maintain the power of your reproductive system. Now we see for the about the kshetra, means kshetra. Now we know kshetra means our uterus area. So let's see what's the happening for that. Yes, disorder of a kshetra means there is a tubal factor, uterine factor, cervical factor, and vaginal factor. Now disorders of a ambu means what is a nourishment is for responsible for the fetus. It comes in the ambu. So deficiency of a micronutrition, it leads to infertility, and by producing dhatu kshaya and thereby influencing hormone, means because of your daily lifestyle or because of your so much improper diet pattern, some dhatu kshaya means weakness of in your dhatus, means rasta, rakta, mans, asti, majja, shukra. Now we know we have a 7 dhatus. So because of that, your hormonal imbalance can happen by visheshing dosha, to cause of a various gynec disorder, by hampering the nourishment of a fertilized egg or implantation of a zygote. So our first duty that we should balance our doshas. If we not balancing our dosha, then also it can affect in our fertile efficiency. So we should control our daily lifestyle, our diet, if we want a healthy baby. Now disorder of a bij. Now we know bij means our semen and ovum. So this state male and female reproductive tissue. Male cause the sperm production, quality of sperm, anatomical obstruction, and immunological disorder. Now let's see the arthrodusti symptoms that we already discussed. Which type we have a 8 type of ovum problem or menstruations problem according to Ayurveda, due to some doshas high, like if high vata dosha, then what happened, pitta, then what happened, that we already know. Now etiological factor described in detail, means first the reason for the infertility is yoni pradosha vikar, means abnormalities of reproductive organs. Yoni vyapar means in Ayurveda we have a 20 types of a vaginal disorder. It's not only vaginal disorder, but when you speak the word yoni, then in Sanskrit it covers the whole reproductive system of a female. Injury to artavah srotas, yoni ars means sometimes some nodules or some cyst can happening into the vaginal area. So because of that, also infertility many times, and injury to the uterus or the displacement. Bhagasankocha means your vulva or vagina is very contracted, and the passage of a urine which is flopping into, means there is a, it's a called some structure abnormality here. Now we see mansik abhitapa, means the psychological factor. Psychological very abuse means if you are very stressed out with your mind, then also it's a very difficulty to get the pregnant. So manasya garbhadharanam, it is a very famous sentence in Ayurveda, means uh, if you not have a very somanasya, means if you not have a very good relationship with your husband and wife, means in between there is a somanasya, means good relationship, then also it's happened. So that is the most important sutra given in Ayurvedic classes. Normal psychology of the couple for achievement of a pregnancy is a must. Clarity of happiness or heart is needed, not the sorrow, grief, fear during the time of a planning or a coitus. Now, the Shukra dosha, abnormalities of a semen. So, it's called Pitruj Bhava. Pitruj means from father's side. So, I describe under 6 factor and carried to the embryo through the sperm. Sukra also means endocrine gland, its normal function, and then Ashruka dosha, and then Ahara dosha means abnormalities of diet. By producing we know now how in our first lecture we see how our menstruation or our ovum is built up through our diet. So our diet must be a very good, and taking virud ahara, that is for me it is the most important point in our most important factor for infertility nowadays. I will give you the detailed thing afterwards, that what is the virudahara or what is the incompatible food. Vihara doshas means abnormalities mode of life, not following daily regimen or seasonal regimen, suppression of a natural urges, improper entry of a sperm in vagina. So now we already know yesterday what's the positions needed for the coitus. If we not following this proper position, then also some doshas is going to involve. Now see the virud ahara means incompatible food. What is the virud ahara? What is the incompatible food? Anything that cause aggravation of the dosha but does not expel them out of the body is called virudahara. Incompatible food should be considered as a vish, as a poison. So incompatible food means you are combining one food with the another food. If you want to take one simple example of this type of incompatible food, it is very famous now these days, hot brownie. Means we are taking the ice cream and it's a very cold, and with that we are eating very hot brownies. So it's a combination of cold and hot, so they both have a totally opposite thing, totally opposite virya. So it's a totally incompatible food, because the only brownie, hot brownie, it's not harming you that much, or only cold ice cream, it's not giving you harm this much. But when you combine this both item and you are preparing one recipe and then you are eating, so this is act as like a poison. So I am going to now give the detailed list with which item it's act as a incompatible. And by seeing this list you are very surprised, because we are commonly taking this type of thing in our diet. According to Ayurveda, every food has its own taste, rasa, heating and cooling effect, means it's called virya, and post digestive effect, it's called vipaka. So even it poses like prabhava, means unexplained effect. So when two or more foods having different taste, energy, and post digestive effect are combined and result it in Agni is very overloaded. So we see the list which Virud Ahara we are taking, and it is a poison. And you know, because of that, not only infertility, but if you even conceive the child, then also it in the if your child can, like you can birth of a stillbirth child, mean after birth immediately your child, that also can happen. So this much effect can come through because of that. Now see the which thing, if you combine with another thing, then it acts as a virud. Even you see, giving this like simple example, many times we heard very young age people go outside for the food in the restaurant, and after eating immediately they died, or immediately after that they get some disease, even because of virudahara. The cancer and the heart disease also can occur. So it is a very very we can say bad effects in our health. And even main problem with virudahara, what you know, we all know outside restaurant food is not good, we all know pesticide is not good, we all know the pollution is not good, but this is a virudahara, this item is virudahara that we don't know. And uh, this effect is that much bad in our body, that also we don't know. This is the main problem. So now let's see what is the incompatible food, what is the virud ahara. Nowadays it is the main cause of infertility. Who enters just now, I just tell them which topic we are running. We are right now talking about virudahara and incompatible food. In Ayurveda, we have some things. If you take it with this thing, then it acts like this mixture, acts like a poison. So that is the main reason for infertility. So let's see, go on the list now. Beans. Any beans items, if you eat with the fruit, cheese, eggs, fish, milk, meat or yogurt, then it acts as a virudahara. Eggs, if you when you prepare in the eggs item, we generally not, but we never eat the eggs. We particularly our Gujarati community where I am living. So if you eat eggs with the fruit, especially with the melons, beans, cheese, fish, like even khichdi. Khichdi nowadays very famous, slowly getting famous in Europe. We all know khichdi is a very healthy thing. So if you eat with the, if you are going to make omelette of eggs, and which you are making simple khichdi, and we think it's a very healthy diet, na? But it's as a incompatible food. Milk, meat and yogurt. Fruit, particularly if you eat with the milk, with the yogurt, then it's dangerous. Many times we have so many pudding recipes, sweet recipes is like that, where we adding fruit also and we are adding milk also. So it's not good. So it's a rule, fruit you always should eat alone, separately, not with any other food. Grains, if you eat the grains with the fruit and tapioca. Honey, here it's a, because honey is a very important role in Ayurveda. Even grita means clarified butter, ghee also has a very important role in Ayurveda. Even when last day we discussed about the antenatal care routine in Ayurveda, there also you see so much use of clarified butter, ghee and honey. So with equal, if you take a same quantity of a ghee and honey, then it's act like a poison. So whenever any Ayurveda doctor say you or anyone, you have to take ghee and honey, and if it's come together, so always keep in your mind, you have to take not in similar quantity, in different quality. How? By weight, not by measurement. Means 1 spoon ghee and 1 spoon honey, so it's not equal amount, but 1 spoon ghee and 3 spoon honey, it's almost equal amount. So we should take ghee and honey always in unequal amount, not an equal amount. Even boiled or cooked honey. Nowadays, because of weight loss, so many trends are going on. Like everyone in the morning, they are taking warm water and honey, hot water and honey. Sometimes they are adding the honey into the green tea. Sometimes they are adding the honey into the, you know, the any warm items. So that is not a good thing. So for that we should avoid it. Now hot drinks means if you have any hot drinks means tea and coffee, that if you take with the mangoes, cheese, fish, meat, starch or yogurt. Here you see lemon. Lemon, we all know, very, very healthy food. Definitely is very, very healthy. But if you take lemon with a cucumbers, with a milk, with a tomatoes, that are many times going on. You know, we making any vegetable salads, we put the tomato, another vegetables, and then we put slightly lemon on it. So it's a virudahara and yogurt. Particularly all the melons, everything that you should take, especially not take with especially the dairy, eggs, fry food, grains, starches, melons more. Then most fruits should be eaten alone or left alone. Milk is a very healthy. We see in our antenatal care, mostly in Ayurveda, you for the whole 9 months, they are advising you just take milk. But milk you should not take with bananas, with cherries, with melons, with sour fruits, with the bread, because in the bread there is a yeast. So our morning breakfast is how like that. You are taking the bread also and you are forcing your children, now you eat this bread one slide and you please bring the milk. So you are thinking you are doing something good for your child, you are giving good health to your children. No, just wait, you are giving the unhealth to your children. So never force children to drink milk and bread together. If you want in the breakfast, you want to give them breads or any yeast containing items, then first you give it, then while little bit rest or wait little bit 5-10 minutes, and then you give the milk. Particularly milk and fish is a totally incompatible foods. Khichdi and milk, meat and yogurt. So that's thing you have to see, you have to check your list. You are taking any incompatible food unknowingly, then you are doing a most worst effect, or you are doing something wrong with your health. Particularly nightshades plants like potato and tomatoes, that you should not eat with melon, cucumber or dairy products. Particular radish is you can't eat with bananas and milk, and the tapioca you can't eat with the fruits, and particularly yogurt yogurt you can't eat with the cheese, eggs, fish, hot drinks, meat, milk, and nightshade. So even we have a in particularly you now you living into the foreign country. So I just try to myself to find which type of incompatible food or virudahara maybe in your countries. So I make like this chart, but more you can find it. Like in India, we have a many item prepare in mustard oil. So when you are preparing any curries with the mustard oil, and we are adding it that milk and yogurt in the curries, so that is also common incompatible food. Particularly nowadays the outside pizzas, that is because pizza base itself very heavy. Now you apply very, very high cheese layer on it, it's too heavy, and then you apply toppings on it, and then sauce in it, so it's too heavy. So this type of foods particularly we should avoid. It's under comes under incompatible foods. It's a very, very harm. So what happened, why I'm saying that when talked about the pre-pregnancy planning. Please avoid outside food, because we never ask to the restaurant chef the recipe. Okay, just tell me which thing you are adding here. That we don't know. So even we don't know this type of any incompatible things in it. So this is the most cause of a infertility. Now that is all the causes. Okay, but how to treat infertility according Ayurveda? What is the approach? The Ayurveda approach to infertility. Ayurveda supports the health by strengthening body's own self-healing and balancing the hormone. When you are go for the modern treatment for the infertility, then what happens? They are giving you so many hormonal injection, and if you are in the unovulation phase, then they are giving you the hormones which stimulate your ovary. So they are making hyper stimulate your ovary, and because of that, sometimes ovarian failure also can happen. And even so many, that is I give some example, but so many side effects come when you are taking this type of hormonal treatments for the infertility. But Ayurveda infertility treatment is not giving you any side effect, but it strengthen your body, and it's making you can own self healing, and it's making your hormonal in balancing form. So even your infertility is definitely getting in the cure, definitely you get the child, but with that you not get any another disease, but you get more and more better health. Ayurveda treatment focuses on the treatment of infertility holistically within the aim of improving all over the health. Ayurveda approach is very rebound for the IVF treatment, because IVF treatments ratio, success ratio is only 30%. When you are combining, if you are very older, means you are 45 and 50 years old and still you want a child, then definitely we have to take the help of a IVF treatment. So that you should combine both Ayurveda and allopathy. Then the IVF success rate also getting in high. We can divide Ayurveda approach in three categories: dietary management, herbs management, and body therapies. So let's see what's come under dietary management. Dietary management. For that, Lashuna means garlic. Garlic is a very beneficial. The woman using garlic never remains infertile. It is written in our Kashyap Samhita. Milk is also that much useful. Meat increase the shukra, semen and ovum, and always take rock salt and ginger before the lunch and dinner. Now, I make one list of which drink you can take, which dairy product, which grains, which vegetable or fruits or other things you can take it. These things if you can take, then you definitely get the result. For this chart, I worked so much hard. I go through in our Ayurveda Samhita with each and every items, with each and every vegetables, with each and every fruits, and with each and every spices, and then I make this chart. Whichever things is harming for your semen, or whichever things it decrease the semen quality, or whichever things is decrease the ovum quality, that I just avoid. Even I giving you one, like when my patient, I want to tell you one my patient story, and when I am going to see her message also at the end of the our lecture. Like the patient comes from the Africa. At that time, unfortunately, my all IPD rooms are full, and at that time the patient age is 36. She already done IVF 2 times, but it's failed. Now with very hope she comes to me, ma'am, I want to take the treatment for the fertility with you and with the Ayurveda and Panchkarma. Then I say, okay, no problem, but then you have to stay at my hospital, you have to admit at my hospital for the Panchkarma treatment. But then unfortunately I have no space, and whichever visa they have, they are going to expand within the in which what days, so they has to go back to Africa. And then okay, then I suggest them, okay, we are not able to now to do panchkarma, so what should do, I give you one diet that you should follow, and I give you some herbs, oral medication to make your thing balance. And she took only 2 month herbs with them. They take it and they finish it, and then for the fifth months, for the during the 5 months, they not even single day they missed, they totally follow this that. And after 5 months she messaged me with the positive pregnancy. So look, this much diet giving you effect. So this is the list. In the drink, you can take water, coconut water. In the dairy product, we should take cow milk, cow ghee, cow curd, and butter. Please avoid the buffalo milk and buffalo curd, all that thing. And particularly like in the grains, wheat, rice, barley, finger miller that you can eat. In the vegetable, garlic, snake ground, log ground, eggplant, pointed that you can eat. In the fruits, mango, banana, or whichever seasonal fruit particularly. In the water chestnut, yes, that is a very amazing fruit, water chestnut. I don't know it is available in Spain or no. Otherwise, you have to find it. It is a work as a garbhasthapana, means to establishment of a fetus or embryo. It is like that. So yes, it is heavy to digest, but then you have to watch your digestive power, your agni, and you should eat it every day. Pomegranate and pigweed. It is a one leafy vegetables. It is very, very useful. Sesame oil. It is very, very useful to make a conceive, to fight against infertility, because sesame oil has a property like it's a yoni vishodhana, mean it's clear your uterus. It's has this much property, it purified your uterus. So normally I advise to my patient, you have to count your menstruation days, means first 15 days of your menstruation days you should cook all the item in sesame oil, and after 15 days of a menstruation you should cook all the item into the cow ghee. So then it's very useful. Particularly sugar cane. Sugar cane is a very, very useful for a male. They increase their sperm count very nicely. Sugar and jaggery, and particularly the black gram. Yes, black gram, it's called urad. Black gram, when you are on the infertility and you want to conceive your child, then in a week at least 2 times you should eat black gram soup or black gram vada. Anything you can prepare from the black gram is very, very must essential. So black gram. And which things we can't take, so whichever things I mentioned here in the take list, that try you just taking this. But if you're not able to take this thing, then whichever things I mentioned in the don't take them, please never take it. Like cold drinks and milkshakes, never. Grains, in the grains also the pearl millet and sorghum. Actually, it's called in India bajra and jawar. That we think it's very, very healthy grains. But when you are trying to for the pregnancy or you are in the infertility, then please avoid it, because it is a property like it's a lower your semen count, or even female is taking, then when semen enter in the uterus, they decrease the semen powers. Particularly chickpeas. Chickpeas we think very healthy, but when you in the infertility, because it vitiated the vata dosha, so please avoid it. The red gram, split bengal gram, and red beans, particularly all the pulses you should avoid. When you try for when you are infertility patient, then all the pulses should avoid. Usually we think pulses is with the high protein, so it's a very, very good, but it's a the pulses is a has decreased your power of a semen and ovum. So please avoid it. Watermelon, horse gram, the carom seed, and the dill seed. Actually, dill seed is a very good medicine for female, but for the male semen, it's not totally good. So dill seed avoid, and the coriander seed, even the green coriander also. We think coriander is a healthy, but yes, it's healthy in some manner, in some corner, in some category. But when we want to make our ovum and our semen stronger, at that time coriander green leaves or coriander seeds is not at all good. So now you have a list which thing you can eat or you can't eat when you are a patient of infertility. Now, which herbs? I mentioned we have lots of herbs in the Ayurveda that we can use for the infertility treatment, but I try to mention some herbs only for your knowledge. So I go through it very fast now. Ashoka, it's a Serica indica. It's a very good plant, and mainly who have a pitta problem or who have a heavy bleeding or menorrhagia, for that it is the most useful plant. Musta, Cyper rotundans. It is a very good plant in Ayurveda, in our Sahita. If we have you imagine the 100 formulation of medicines, then out of 180 formulation contain this Musta. Trifla, that we all know, that all available now in Europe countries also. It's a very laxative. It specify all three doshas. Its rejuvenation, particularly medhar, means is because of that you can lose your weight, and it is very good for the eyes. Guduchi, Tinospora cordifolia. It is very good drug. Shatavari, we all know Shatavari is the main medicine for the infertility. One of the best medicine in Ayurveda, or we can say Ayurveda gem. That is Kakamachi. It is a very good. It is not very non-plant, but it is a very good for practice of the blockages. If you have any fallopian tube blockage or any growth in your uterus cyst or uterus fibroid, then it's very good. This all medicine you have to use under the guidance of a Ayurveda doctor. I'm just mentioning it here for knowledge. Kumari aloe vera, now it is very famous plant. It is a aphrodisiac plant. It is good for liver, good for it, particularly it's give you nourishment. So herbs in management of infertility into the male. It's like ashwagandha, gokshur, kapikachu, kokilaksh, vruddharu, jivanti. That all was very useful herbs for the management of infertility. Now the body therapies. Means Ayurvedic body therapies such as Shirodhara, Abhyanga, Marma therapy, Nashya, Basti, Chakra balancing, Pinda, and releasing the tension, impurities, and trapped energy within the body. So it's all the Panchkarma treatment that is very must basic treatment for the infertility. If you want to fight against your infertility, you must do first Panchkarma treatment. And it is why? Because we just remove out all the impurities from your body. Rejuvenation therapy are beneficial in reducing the stress, nourishing all the dhatus of the body, and it's even control your vata. Panchkarma is usually prescribed for infertile couples. Shodhana Chikitsa helps. Shodhana means purification, detoxification. Helps in uterine host and non-ovulatory cycles, to remove local disorder, to remove obstruction in passage, to facilitate proper coitus, and to increase receptivity of the genital tract to the end, to when the sperm enter into the vagina. That is the must needed. That if sperm and ovum it's not going to combine, it's not going to unite, then it's a meaningful. So yes, female infertility is sometimes caused by blocked tubes, pelvic adhesion, or other types of a trauma or inflammation in the reproductive organs. Why? Long believed that surgery is the only solution for this type of a anatomical defect, but Ayurveda expert found the deep tissues were, and that can not only decrease the mechanisms of the blockage but also reduce the pelvic pain and improve your sexual arousal and organisms for the woman. So if you think you have an infertility because of some that type of a anatomical structure or some adhesions or some scar tissue or some blockages, then also Ayurveda treatment able to remove this type of a blockage. Massaging, yes, it's very helpful. Infertile couple now from the day without any consultation of the doctor just start massage by themselves every day. It also improve your situation very nicely. Massaging the body reduce the stress, rejuvenates the entire body and pacify the underlying dosha. The massage can help increasing the chances of a conception by clearing blockage into the fallopian tubes. In the Ayurveda, we have a very special treatment, Uttar Basti. We all know about the Panchkarma, and Uttar Basti also the part of a Panchkarma treatment, but in the few Ayurveda clinic, it's going to produce. Now, benefits of a fertility massage: improves the blood flow to the reproductive area, relieves the physical and emotional congestion into the abdomen and reproductive area, strengthens the uterine ligaments, aligns the uterus, improves the quality of the uterine lining, elevates the depression and anxiety, contains mind, body, spirit and emotion, and strengthen your immunity. So fertility massage has also very important role in Ayurveda. So if you don't want to spend so much your wealth in behind of the infertility treatment, I know it's very expensive treatment, so you just follow the diet which I already explained you, which thing we can take, we can't take. You just follow the daily regimen, you just follow your seasonal regimen, you just do everyday massage, and you just try it, you just follow this thing all 3-5 months, you definitely get the result. Still not get the result, definitely go for the Panchkarma treatment. And then because of Panchkarma, what happened, your body receptivity is getting higher and higher. So after that, your body can affect some medicines or can affect some diet. So and then you can get immediately pregnant. Now what is the Ayurveda gem Uttar Basti? What is it? It's cure genital urinary disorder with the help of medicinal oils administered into the urinary bladder or uterus. I am very proudly say in my hospital we are doing this treatment accordingly, whichever written in our Charak Samhita 5000 years ago, even with all the modern parameter, means we are using operation theater like therapy rooms for this treatment. You can see the picture how we can insert the medicine from the uterus. In female, Uttar Basti treatment addresses amenorrhea, dysamenorrhea, menorrhagia, leukorrhea, tubal blocks, dysuria, PCOS, uterine structure, that all thing. In the males, Uttar Basti treatment address the urinary prostate enlargement, neurogenic bladder, and cystitis and urethral stricture. So, in the Uttar Basti is an important Panchkarma procedure for the genital and urinary disorder for both male and females. The therapy involves administration of a specific medicinal oil, grita, or decoction into the urinary bladder or uterus. In this procedure, medicine is inserted into the uterus in female per vagina or in the bladder in males, and females per urethra. All aesthetic precautions we are taking. The procedure takes about 15 to 20 minutes. It carried out for 3 consecutive days as requirements. What is the protocol for this treatment? When your menstruation is stopped, at that time your cervix, your uterus cervix is open. So at that time we are doing this procedure 3 days. We are going to sometime admit in our hospital, and we are going to perform in one day 3 times this thing, and then 3 days gap, and again 3 days. And useful in infertility, spontaneous abortion, for who have a recurrence miscarriage. For that, this treatment is like a gold. It's amazing result in that. Fibroids, tubal blockage, and DUB. Uttar Basti per urethra is a useful in benign prostate enlargement, urethral stricture, recurrent urinary tract infection, bladder atony, and cystitis, male infertility, low sperm count, and impotence. Uttar Basti is a, I can say in the Uttar Basti we can only insert the medicated oil around 5 ml to 20 ml. Only this much little dose. But after I observe in my patient, after 3 days of Uttar Basti, during the Uttar Basti I am giving the diet like a kheer, means milk and rice. So this much nourishment diet, and after 3 days patient is losing the weight 2 kg 3 kg, means this is showing this procedure is effect on the hormonal level directly. So this much effect into the Uttar Basti. Yeah, that's I want to see you the yesterday also. These are some Panchkarma babies which they are taking, their mothers is taking with us the Garbhadan Sanskar program. This is by our patient, what they are saying. Sometimes, you know, patient is so much emotional when they get conceive the child, and they are giving the name like Ayurveda. This is patient Puneet. When they put the name of her children, they give that name Atharva. So they can remember us and they can remember Ayurveda. Because of Ayurveda Panchkarma treatment, they conceive it. And that I'm talking you about in my lecture, the African lady who only follow the Ayurveda diet plan and Ayurveda daily routine. So you see her age 37 years is very, very late age for the pregnancy, female, and the pregnancy test is a positive. This lady already done IUI treatment and IVF treatment 2 to 3 times, and this treatment already failed on it. So it is the only for you can build your trust in Ayurveda. So for that I show you this all the thing. Now if you have any question regarding infertility or regarding Ayurveda, then you can ask me, or you can't understand any point in during our lecture. Yeah, there is, I think, one message. I have one question. Do you have a special tips for the endometriosis? Yes, we have a very, very, actually, if you have a chronic endometriosis, then definitely we need some the treatment of a Panchkarma treatment, and I have so many patients. But if you want include in the diet, then specifically the Kapha and Pitta Samana diet you should take, and some dill seed that I mentioned you in the infertility diet that we should not take. But if you want to some home remedies, then you should take dill seed. It's called suvadana in our language, and English it's a dill set that easily available everywhere. In the early morning, just 2-3 gram, means it's around 1 spoon with little bit ghee. You should take it. Another thing you can do it, you can put a pichu. Pichu means you can with the sesame oil or any of the oil you can get it there. You put the cotton in the, dip the cotton in the oil and put into the vagina. Just every day do it and give some abdomen massage and hot pack. If still more you have a problem not getting result from this thing, then definitely you go for the specifically Ayurveda treatment. And definitely because of endometriosis, if you have a very severe pain and you need to take a painkiller, we definitely we can avoid this situation. I think Tina, you get your answer, and still more confusion you can ask me. Yes, in the Ayurveda particularly mention it when the baby's teeth starting to coming out from the this month. We have to slowly starting the weaning period, slowly, not immediately. We should stop. So for that, I already make you the learn the Padansh Vidhi in our Dincharya, the method for quitting the bad habits and quitting, adopt the good habits. The same principle you can apply here also. Means every day when baby's teeth starting to come out, then you slowly starting some healthy food, nourishment food for the babies, and every day 1/4 person you should stop your baby's feeding. Means now up to that you are give a feed to your baby the 8 times a day. So now you just do it the 7 time, and just continue it for 1 day, 2 day, or 1 week, then 6 times a day, and then again 1 week 5 times a day. Likewise, slowly we have to stop it. And before 1 year or before 1.5 year at least we should stop it. So but we should start from the when baby's teething is coming out. When baby's teething period is started, from that we should start it. And we have a specific medicine also. When you stop the breastfeed, maybe your child agni is getting very higher. So maybe the child need more food, demanding more food, or the child agni get low, children agni gets low. So because of that, the mandagni can happen. So her digestive organ. So every time, many mother is saying that after stop my breastfeeding, my child is nothing eating. She doesn't want to eat anything. It's why because of her agni get disturbed. So we have some special medicines for that, and we have some special preparation for that in Ayurveda. Particularly if after stop the feeding, if your child has no hunger, then you can give them the puffed rice powder with the medicine of Yastimadu and Bilva powder. You should give them. And if your child hunger too much, increase the too much, then we should make some medicated sweet items. It's Ayurveda called laddu, puffed rice milk mixed with the that sugar, and we can add it in it, particularly two medicine, the chironji. It's called one type of almond. That powder, you mix it, you make the sweet round bowl like sweet bowl, and then you give to your children with the ghee. So that is the basic in Ayurveda.